well, actually, in experiencing what I did in the canyon, I knew right there while I was trapped that my life had been leading me up to this point. It was like there was this gravitational pull, perhaps not of that specific place or that exact experience, but of an attraction to the edge of life and death, and really wanting to discover and know myself in that place, at that edge. That had perhaps been planted in me as young as when I first began exploring, the back 40 parcel of our house in suburban Indianapolis, where there was a little forest out there, and just going out and the adventure of building a fort in the backyard, of riding around my bike and the little development where we built some dirt tracks and rode our bicycles when I was young. Those kinds of things, like the adventures along the way. And adventures are always relative to past experience. So in order to feel like you're on an adventure of some uncertainty, you have to be doing something that's farther than what you've done previously. And of course, that is leading you along a path of almost inevitable climax, that you will eventually get to a point where the uncertainty and the adventure is more than what you can handle. The essence of my entrapment was the being in this place isolated from all of the people that I loved and who loved me. And then there was my effort to reconnect with them. So that to me, like the plot line of this, in a story sense, is that it was me being separated from them and trying to reunite with them. Working with Danny has been a phenomenal experience of having someone incredibly insightful, very creative, and also extremely sensitive to how personal, especially this story is. Working with him from the start 4 years ago, when we first met, seeing the treatments that his book, his copy of my book, was totally written on every single page, the highlighted, underlined, notes in the margins, dog ears, and all four corners of the book. And he'd put that much preparation even before our the first time we ever met. I've been extremely involved with the creative process, with Simon, screenwriter, working with him. Like we took an 8-hour hike around Boulder, scrambling up around the foothills and the mountainsides and climbing up to one of the summits of one of the mountains above Boulder, and talking about the story, but also my background. And Simon's an outdoors guy himself, so he was able to glean some anecdotes to pick up on a couple aspects that were incorporated into various scenes that weren't in the book. And we had a really cool conversation because one of the biggest challenges for me has been this process of going from being so personally attached to the story to really giving it to Danny and Christian and Simon and the whole team. Working with James Franco, the first thing I did when I found out that he had gotten the role was that I had to look him up, because I didn't know by his name who he was. And of course I pretty well instantly figured out that, oh yeah, I've seen like half dozen of his movies, and he definitely had the dramatic chops to be doing what he would be doing in this film. So I was really psyched to then get to meet him in January, and the first time we got together was in Los Angeles, a hotel room with Danny Boyle and Christian Coulson, and Simon Beaufoy was also there. So the group of us, we went through the script somewhat as well, but it was mostly to have James and I the opportunity to meet and get to know each other, also for James to start to kind of figure out the person who's behind the role.